What's up guys, this is Feder from 3D Print SOS. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have an interesting printer to check out. It is the Tronxy XY-3 SE. The reason why there's a 3 here is because this thing has a trick up its sleeve. It is actually 3 different machines. It is a 3D printer, a dual extrusion 3D printer, which means it can print 2 different colors, and also a laser engraver. So there's a lot going for this thing. And let me tell you, the spec list while checking this thing out is huge. Tronxy reached out to me saying, hey, they had this Kickstarter and this printer is about to drop on Amazon and their website, so links in the description. And I took a look and it's, it looks really good. The Kickstarter was successful. Congratulations on that, by the way. But let's take a look at what's in here. Just judging by the photos that I see online and what's on this box right here and the specs that you can look up on their site, looks like everything is inside of the printer, unlike the Ender 3, for example, where there was a power supply and a display. Everything is self-enclosed on the bottom of the printer. It comes with a touch screen. It comes with these modern extrusions that you see on a lot of machines, kind of like this Odin by Focus over here, where there is no cutouts on the front, making it look nice and slick. It is actually a very similar aesthetic design to the Focus, except the Focus Odin has a 225 or 235 millimeter bed like the Ender and the Voxlab Aquila, whereas this printer is 250 by 250 millimeters wide. So that's kind of another trick it has up its sleeve. So it looks like it has dual-sided cooling, it has a glass bed, it has an automatic bed leveler, and it comes with a Bowden that's using a Titan extruder. And then there's a second Titan extruder that you can add, and a new hot end that has 2 PTFE tubes going in to use that dual color extruder. Also the attachment for the laser. So the cool part about the dual extruder is I use dual color prints all the time. Most of the time, I don't have a dual color printer at the moment, so this will be my first one. But what I do now is I do pause at layer heights where I manually change the filament. Sometimes I do it on the go, depending on how complex the print needs to be. And sometimes I print in 2 pieces and then pop in whatever the secondary color is. So basically, there's not more room for error. I have to use multiple machines most of the time to get, to achieve it. And this lets you do it all in one. So you don't have to have 3 machines to do the things that this printer does. And it should be modular and take up significantly less space. The other thing to note is it looks like the box is really large, so I'm assuming the printer is mostly put together. So my goal with this video is to take everything out of here, showcase what's in there, what the quality is like, what it's like to put together, if it's difficult or not, and then see what the menus are like, see what's on the SD card, and test the regular 3D printer. Then I would like to dive deeper into the laser engraver and the dual color, mostly because I haven't used both of those things, and I don't want to just check those out. I think those are really big features that need their own deeper dive. But when they reached out, they didn't ask for anything in collateral outside of a video, so I'm not obligated to say anything nice. So I will give you exactly my opinions and based on what I'm seeing and feeling while I'm putting this thing together and taking it out of the box. And I really appreciate them for doing this, which it just means that these guys stand by their machine. If they're willing to just send it to me and see what I say, they don't know if I'm gonna have a bad time with it or not. So that's kind of cool and noteworthy on its own. So let me get you guys a little bit closer. I'm going to start taking things out, laying it out, and then we'll put it together and see what this machine is all about. So let's get this going. I know this isn't necessarily the best angle for this, but I'd like to get everything out on these tables so that way I can just assemble it here and everything's already done and in place where it needs to go. So hopefully this angle works out. So I have my little trusty blade here. So let's get going. All right, so like I mentioned before, the box is pretty heavy and it's pretty large, so I'm just gonna assume that it's mostly put together in here. And obviously it's heavy because there is more components than normal. All right, so we have this nice dense foam, the stuff that doesn't get all over your room. All right, so let's see here. Nice bag full of stuff. We have a hot end right over here, tools, looks like a handle, cable. Look at that, a full-size screwdriver. Zip ties, hardware. This is, you know, the SD card. Looks like this is what we're going to need in order to change it to a dual extrusion and put it together. So here's the hot end that's in here. Let me get you guys closer. Take a look. So here's how this one is going to work. Where 2 PTFE tubes come out, there should be 2 Titan extruders in there, and that's how it's going to print to 1 nozzle. Pretty interesting. Let's put that back for now and lay it out. All right, what we have under here? We have the installation manual, some more paperwork in there, how to level it. All right, we'll have to take a look at that. We have 2 small samples of filament, black and white PLA. Looks like this is the laser itself. It is indeed. Looks like a really simple way to attach it. I don't quite know how exactly yet, but we'll see. Looks like it's pretty simple though. Has a little little board over here with a single button and a single cable. Nice, let's set that aside. All right, this looks like one of the extruders with the Titan, with the geared Titan extruder. Basically, what this does is, instead of having the teeth that bite the filament directly on the stepper, there is a large gear here, which means the stepper doesn't have to work as hard to give the same amount of torque. Also, looks like there is a filament sensor, at least on one of these. I'm going to assume that there's a filament runout sensor on both. Honestly, I'm not sure what this is. Looks like some kind of resistor. It says DC to DC power. Okay, so this is for the laser. I'm assuming this is how the laser gets its power. We have the power cord, 2 PTFE tubes, pretty standard spatula, 2 spool holders. Wow, these look more basic than any other ones that I've seen. Usually there's a plastic tube here that holds it. Looks like it's metal. You know what, that might actually work because it would have less friction than a standard spool holder. Interesting. Let's see what's all the way over here. This looks like just one of the covers. You know, it's metal, pretty sturdy feeling. And this one is, oh, this one's on the bottom, okay. All right, we got a glass bed over here. Looks like it has that texture, that lattice, I guess they call it, that's supposed to peel easier. I'm actually gonna set this off to the side so it's away from all the metal stuff that I'll be putting down. All right, let's get deeper into the box. Okay, here's the machine. What is this? Oh, this is probably the glasses that you get for when you're doing laser engraving. Oh yeah. Thanks for the shades, Tron. How are we looking? Am I gonna wear this for the rest of the video? No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's keep going. Put those off to the side. Hey, you know what? Safety first. Definitely appreciate it. Probably can't be good to look directly at a laser while it's carving, huh? All right, let's see how we take this out. Is this like a tilting, folding style? No, so this is not attached. All right, so here's the entire gantry system here. Let me get a better grip on it here. Okay, so pretty basic stuff. Yep, looks like eccentric nuts on the wheels so that it slides downward. And then we have the extruder already pre-installed, the single color has pre-installed a 40mm fan for cooling, and dual-sided. No, not dual-sided. Interesting. So this is actually different than what's on the picture on the box. I wonder if the picture on the box is for the dual head. Although if this is the dual head, it also has single-sided cooling. So that's interesting. It's different than what's on the box. I wonder why that is. In here, I don't know if you could see, but there is a sensor mounted, and that's actually, maybe that's why there is no second cooling fan here. On the photo, it's in this area, but here there's a little cutout for the sensor. Okay. But yeah, it's nice that this is already assembled. Typically, you have to put this together yourself on most other printers. So some other things, I don't know if you could tell, but there is a belt that is attached to both of the rods here. There's bearings on the top. That's all really nice. Having these having your Z-axis on both sides synchronized is pretty good. Yeah, there's another filament runout sensor, the other extruder. Looks like some nice couplings on the bottom. They are solid, which I actually prefer. I know there's a big argument on that actually online. All right, let's set this off to the side for now until I move the box out of the way. All right, and looks like the only thing that's left in here is the printer. So there actually isn't too much to do outside of putting that big gantry up with some hardware. All right, let me get this box out of the way. And just to note, that box is really heavy without anything else in it. All right, so let's see what's noteworthy on the machine here. One thing to note is this is sliding very well. It is a bit loose, so we will have to adjust that. There is a 220 and 110 adjuster on the power supply that's on the bottom. Let's go ahead and flip this machine while we can. Oh, that's interesting. There is a what do you call this? Not sealant. That's not the right word. Under the bed, there is a foam that's going to help keep heat in the bed. I'm running out of words for some reason to describe what that is. It'll come to me later. Interestingly enough, the springs on the bed are slightly different than what you typically see on printers. They're not the yellow springs, but they're also not those standard silver springs that you see on a lot of printers. They have a different shape to them. So maybe they made their own that are slightly firmer than normal. On this side, you have your standard little slot for the SD and your printer connection. You can tell that the printer has been put together before for testing, so that's a good thing. Let's see, is this a zip tie? It's a zip tie. So let's cut that so we can start putting it together a little bit. All right, so let me lay everything out so you guys can see what comes with the machine. And I will assemble this thing really quickly. And let's power it up and see what it's all about. Alright, so the Tronxy XY-3 SE is assembled and ready to go. You know already I'm going to definitely be using the Yusu Rainbow Silk filament, my favorite filament to test this kind of stuff with. And you know, here's what it looks like. It's a little bit wider and a little bit taller than a standard machine such as the Ender or the Aquila over there. It's just a hair bigger. It's barely noticeable. But a couple things to note. Some things that I like. It's really easy to assemble. It's mostly assembled already. As you saw, you're just putting on just a couple things here and there. It literally took minutes to get set up, so that's definitely a positive. It's also very easy to understand how this stuff works because it's fairly basic in that sense. But then there's a couple things that I'm not sure about. For example, this handle. I don't know why you would pick up a printer by this. One, it's small and kind of feels fragile, and the printer is somewhat hefty, you know, with this casing on there. So I'm not sure what that's for. I understand the convenience. It does kind of look nice with it. I'm just not sure. Another thing to note is these covers make it feel cheap. You know, and it is cheap. Like, it is a cheap printer. But these things with little zip ties around them, for some reason, because they're not the cloth kind, just make it feel a little cheap. The ribbon cable, you know, it looks like this for now. I'm sure it'll even out. That's not a big deal. On this side, I don't know what I expected, but I guess this is for the other side. When you add on the dual extruder and the laser engraver, this is how you're going to power it. I don't know what I expected, but I guess I thought they would be tucked away better in some way, shape, or form. Once again, I think it might be just this plastic little sheet, you know, cord organizer that's bothering me for some reason. I'm not truly sure why. Another thing to note is this sensor, the filament sensor. You can see there's a little LED bulb that lights up when the filament goes through. That's really nice, and a nice little visual. This cable was really easy to connect. You know, the tensioner is here, but it's not a nice and easy thumb tensioner. You do have to pull this, sometimes put something in here and push out to get the belts tight. Another positive here is on the print bed. Look at these little clips. I haven't seen them on any other printer. I've seen people buy them on the internet for their printer, but this is really nice. That would make the bed nice and easy to pop on and off. Hopefully they don't get in the way of the knobs, but I really like those for now. And there's 4 of them on each corner. I haven't touched the software yet, and it looks like it is really white and bright, so we're not going to be able to see it without changing the settings on the camera here. But this portion, the wheels that that the bed rides on, are really far apart, so this is super stable. It was really easy to adjust. As you can see right here, there are 2 eccentric nuts on these 2 wheels, and you just use the provided wrench to adjust them in case you have any slop there. As you can see, there is a ton of stuff still left over, and that's because this printer has a ton of stuff to go with it. We have the laser engraver still left here. We have the dual extrusion 2-to-1 hot end over here, which looks really nice. Nice machined piece. Always like looking at machined pieces. And then we have another Titan extruder. We have our safety glasses here. We have some kind of DC to DC converter for, I'm assuming, for the laser. We have another cover for this hot end. A whole bunch of hardware. Looks like there is a spare nozzle block and heat break, which is always nice to include. Looks like there is a sensor. I'm not sure what this would be for, but we'll dig in once we do that. Maybe it's for the laser engraver. A pack of zip ties and the standard stuff. Another thing to note is I'm kind of sad to see that there isn't any clippers. However, these tools are really nice. You get a full-size screwdriver and this really nice T-handle Allen key which is so much better than using these tiny little Allen keys that end up hurting your hand, or your fingers rather. So that's what it looks like assembled. I'm going to give you a closer look at what the menu looks like so we can dig in here. All right, so let's take a closer look at what we have here. System. Oh, nice. It looks like it's very fast. Colorful. Okay. Info. All right, so that's the current readings. Extruder 1, extruder 2. I'm guessing this fire symbol is for the laser. Okay, it's in English language. Current language is English. Are you sure you want to exchange? No, no. TPA adjust. What is TPA adjust? Calibrate 0.1. 0.2. Oh, is this for the touchscreen? Calibrate complete. Do you want to save result? Yes. Okay. I'm assuming that's default. Okay, let's go back. Let's go to tool. All right, let's preheat the printer. Okay, looks like it jumps by 2. Oh, and then a little more. Okay, can I hold it for faster operation? No. Okay, so actually that looks like it's the hotbed. One thing you might notice is the printer is not that loud. Well, as in the fans are not that loud, which is nice. So I can't put it to 70 degrees. Whoops. Oh, okay, just clicking on the numbers looks like heats up the nozzle and the print bed. So that's easy. Okay. Filament. This looks like it's filament load and filament unload. Level. Interesting symbols and language. It's kind of different than what I expected, I guess. Cold throat board. You can turn the board fan off. Interesting. I've never seen that before. You can actually turn off the hot end fan, although it kicks back on, which is good because I'm heating the printer at the moment. I've never seen that before. I guess that might mean you can have an ultimate silence situation when everything is done cooling. So that's kind of interesting. You could pick the hot end. So far it's straightforward, just a little bit different. This looks like it's movement. Let's select 10 millimeters. Let's see what this is like. It has silent stepper, so you definitely can't hear that at all. Looks like everything is moving in the right direction. I'm not going to use the extruder just yet. Z height. Does the Z move? The Z does not move at the moment. Oh, there it goes. I pressed it a bunch and it just took a second to register. It is moving nice and free. It is definitely silent. All right. That's the menu. Looks like there isn't too much more for us to look at here. Let's see what's on the SD card. 2 color print files, laser carving software, Cura slicing software, USB drive. Oh, here we go. There's a vase, portrait stone, mythical wild animal, articulated lizard. Interesting. 20 millimeter calibration cube, that's nice. That's a nice print. I'm thinking mythical wild animal is should be our first print. But before we do this, let me zoom you out and let's see what leveling is like. All right, so a few things happened off camera. I actually forgot to hit record, unfortunately, but I tried to level the bed using the auto bed leveler. Even though I hit level the bed and then went to print, it actually dug into the glass of the bed. And let me tell you why. It looks like after you do the bed leveling sequence, which is automatic, it touches the bed at 18 different points and then gives you measurements on the screen. You're, according to the instructions, supposed to go to Z offset, still use a piece of paper to get the actual nozzle down closer to the print bed and hit OK, and nothing actually happens. That's kind of the downside to both of those. Nothing happens to tell you that everything's okay and you're ready to move on. You're kind of just supposed to guess that that happened. So that's a bit unfortunate. I'm kind of, having trouble getting the hang of this menu because it is a little bit different than everything else. But so far I just did the bed leveling again. I did the Z offset. So now I'm going to go to print. We're going to go down to the mythical wild animal, which is what I tried to print earlier. And let's go ahead and start the print and see what happens. Okay, looks like it's going well now. Okay, let's see how it does. It looks like this is going to be an 8-hour print for whatever the mythical wild animal is. I'm going to let it go overnight and see how it goes. All right, I'll see you guys in the morning. So I just walked downstairs and check this out. It's been about 7 hours. And this is not what I expected for mythical wild animal. But look at the print quality. So a little hiccup with leveling, but looks like it prints really well. This is quite the first print. A couple things to note on the menu screen. I know it's really bright, so it'll be hard to see in this particular scenario. Apparently enough for my camera not to focus on it. But I love the way that it says how fast it's printing at. It's just a clever way to show that. And it also shows how much time has passed and how much time is left. So that's interesting. It looks like it's been printing for 7 hours and 20 minutes, and it has an hour and 7 minutes left. Not bad. It's at 81% at the moment. You know, the fans are all ramped up. I can hear them. They're not the loudest fans that I've had. Not the quietest fans I've ever had. But overall, not bad. Excited to dive a little deeper. All right, so I'm going to let this thing finish, and then we'll dive into the conclusion. Alright, so the first print from the XY-3 SE is this. I would say this is a pretty decent first print. I know it's sliced from the SD card and they're usually okay. We'll have to make some profiles for this printer. But yeah, this is a really nice print. It's stuck really well. You know, we had a little mishap on leveling, but otherwise it did really well. It looks like the Z seam could have been hidden better, but that's just a slicing thing and not anything negative in terms of what the printer did. You know, look at the details here in the face. Yeah, it's very nice. I'm printing another cube, and then I'll give you another view, and let's talk about the printer. Alright, so that's the Tronxy XY-3 SE. You guys heard me talking about it the whole time. I was trying to narrate and give you my feelings based on what I was experiencing with the machine, taking it out, assembling it. Just to give you kind of like a quick summary, I think everything is really stout. Everything is built fairly well. There's a few cut corners here and there that I can see, like a like a manual tensioner here. Some of the little gears, for example, that hold on the belts are press fit instead of with Allen keys, so you can't really adjust them. But those are really nitpicking. I think the one note that I can make against this printer so far is the firmware language. The firmware itself is perfectly fine. I think some of the language in there is strange and just a little bit off, like it got lost in translation between Chinese and English. But there's a lot of features here, and it looks like it would be easy to use once you figure those things out. Like, for example, auto bed leveling doesn't really have a way for you to know that it finished or how to move on to the next step in the menu. You have to look at the instruction manual, which is also poorly written. You can tell that it was translated. So that's kind of, I think, its major nitpicking downfall, if you want to say. Otherwise, I think it's a great printer. I think right out of the box to get prints like this nowadays is really, really great. I don't see any ringing. there's no ghosting. The only little imperfections that you see here is a Z-seam setting that could have been done differently in a slicer. This cube printed out perfectly fine. As you can see, it just came off. There's a tiny little bit of ringing, but nothing major. No major ghosting going on. It looks really square. The edges look good. It did not peel up at all. So as long as you follow the instruction manual's photos, which are very nice actually, I think you'll be fine getting this thing up and running. And now that it is up and running, and I know that the single head printer works really well, attaching this dual or laser, I'm way more intrigued and excited about, because I think this is what's making this printer worthwhile, not so much this configuration. Now, if you want to assemble it just this way, it is very fast and very easy. There's only 8 bolts that you had to attach to get it up and running. However, if you want to put these on, there's definitely a lot more parts to put on, a bunch of hardware and wiring to manage, but it looks like it's going to be totally manageable and you could do this. It comes mostly pre-wired, as you can see here. Right now I have it tucked under, but I saw that you can hide all this wiring into the casing from the bottom in case you didn't want that there if you wanted to use it in this configuration. So let me know in the comments below which one you guys would like to see next. Do you want to see the dual color, or do you want to see the laser engraver? I'm equally as excited on which one to use. You can't use them at the same time, so let me know which one you would like to see, and that's going to be what I set this printer up with to check out next. So like I said, this isn't necessarily a review. I can't fully recommend this printer just yet, but definitely check it out on Amazon. Definitely check it out on their website if you're interested in this type of machine, because from what I can see so far, it looks really nice, it feels really nice, it prints decent. So the only thing left to see is these attachments and how it does long term. If you guys have any specific questions about the machine, or you want me to look into something a little bit more, let me know in the comments below. If you guys think somebody will find this video useful, they're interested in this machine, send them a link and give the video a thumbs up. Another thing is I started a Discord for this channel. If you want to show off your prints, if you want to talk about specific videos or have questions, maybe someone else can help answer some if I can't get to it in the comments of YouTube. So there's a Discord link in the description. Make sure you check that out and join the discussions there. All right, guys, as always, I'll see you in the comments.